When a girl heals, a nation rises, the revolutionary power of sacred spaces. Have you ever noticed how we're taught to measure success? Degrees on walls, promotions earned, boxes checked. Uh, But what if the most revolutionary act isn't climbing higher, but digging deeper? What if true power isn't about conquering the world, but healing it? I recently had the profound privilege of interviewing Rolanda Wilkins, a visionary whose work has transformed countless lives across generations. She's not just an educator or mentor, she's a healer of ancestral wounds, a keeper of sacred wisdom, a revolutionary disguised as a grandmother figure who speaks truth with such gentle power that it fundamentally rewires how you see the world. Her decades of work creating space where Black women and girls can reclaim their wholeness has literally changed the trajectory of families, communities, and yes, nations. Her wisdom stopped me in my tracks, made me rethink everything I thought I knew about empowerment. Healing, she reminded me, is not just personal, it's generational, it's revolutionary. Think about that for a moment. Healing as revolution, not the kind that makes headlines, but the quiet kind that rewrites futures, the kind that happens when we create spaces where women and girls can remember who they truly are before the world told them they weren't enough, weren't worthy, weren't deserving of rest or joy or wholeness. We're living in a time when burnout is celebrated, when exhaustion is worn like a badge of honor, when hustle culture has convinced us that our worth is measured by our productivity. And nobody feels this more acutely than Black women. The statistics tell us that Black women are the most educated demographic in America, and yet they remain undervalued, underpaid, and overwhelmed. They're expected to be strong for everyone else while silencing their own needs, to give endlessly without replenishment. This isn't just unfair, it's unsustainable, and it's exactly what Rolanda's work addresses. Through initiatives like Rolanda's Bright Ideas, she's created sacred spaces where purpose driven women can reconnect with themselves and redefine what thriving actually looks like, not according to society's metrics, but according to their souls. Let me tell you about Tanya, a high achieving executive who came to one of these spaces completely depleted. She had three advanced degrees, led a team of 50, and hadn't taken a real vacation in 6 years. I was so busy proving my worth, she told me, that I forgot to live my life. In Rolanda's circle, surrounded by women who understood her journey, Tanya found something she hadn't experienced since childhood: permission to exhale, to be seen not for what she could do, but for who she was. That's the magic of sacred space. It doesn't try to fix you, it reminds you that you were never broken. But creating these space requires intention, requires wisdom, requires understanding that true empowerment isn't about assimilation or competition. It's about authenticity, collective healing, and nurturing one another through sisterhoods that reflect our true selves. This is where many well meaning empowerment initiatives fall short. They focus on helping women succeed within broken systems rather than healing the wounds those systems have inflicted. They teach women how to play the game rather than changing the rules. Rolanda's approach is different. It's rooted in the understanding that we must build our own systems of care rather than waiting for outside structures to save us. Take her intergenerational wisdom circles, for example, inspired by conversations with her 99-year-old grandmother, a living archive of family history. These gatherings connect younger generations with elders, preserving priceless stories that might otherwise be lost. In a world obsessed with the new, with the next, with the novel, These circles honor the ancient. They recognize that our ancestors faced challenges we cannot imagine and developed wisdom we desperately need. One young woman who participated in these circles shared, I used to think resilience was something I had to figure out on my own. Now I realize I come from a long line of resilient women. Their strength lives in me. That's the power of intergenerational healing. It transforms the narrative from I am alone in my struggle to I am part of a legacy of overcoming. But Rolanda's work doesn't stop there. She also addresses the specific challenges faced by professional Black women who often internalize pressure to overperform while suppressing their emotional needs. Through programs like Read It on the Run, she helps these women disrupt patterns of exhaustion through practices that integrate spirituality with practical self care, not the superficial kind that's been commercialized and commodified, but deep, soul level nourishment. Consider Amara, a physician who came to Rolanda's program on the verge of leaving medicine altogether. I was drowning, she said, not just in workload, but in the constant pressure to be twice as good while showing half the emotion. Through faith based affirmation practices and community support, Amara rediscovered not just her passion for medicine, but her right to practice it as her full, authentic self. She learned that vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was her greatest strength. That rest wasn't a reward for productivity, but a birthright, that her worth wasn't tied to her output, but to her very existence. This is the ripple effect of healing. When one woman learns to honor her needs, she models that possibility for everyone around her, her children, her colleagues, her community. And this is where the revolutionary aspect becomes clear. Imagine a world where girls grow up seeing women who prioritize their well being, who speak their truth without apology, who rest when they're tired without explanation, who gather in circles of support rather than competing for scraps of recognition. Imagine how different our boardrooms would look, our classrooms, our governments, our homes. This isn't just about individual wellness. It's about collective transformation. It's about recognizing that when we invest in spaces where girls and women can heal, we're investing in the healing of entire communities. When we create circles where every voice is honored, we're creating models for a more equitable society. When we embrace the wisdom of our elders, we're ensuring that hard won knowledge isn't lost but amplified. This is what Rolanda means when she says, we are the medicine. The healing we seek isn't found in some external solution, it's found in each other, in the sacred spaces we create together, in the stories we share, in the boundaries we honor, in the rest we prioritize. It's found in remembering that success isn't about assimilation or competition. It's about authenticity, collective healing, joy, love, and nurturing one another. But this kind of healing doesn't happen automatically. It requires intention, requires commitment, requires a willingness to pause in a world that rewards constant motion. So here's my challenge to you: create a sacred space, whether it's for yourself or with others. Make it a place where truth can be spoken without fear, where silence is as valued as speech, where presence matters more than perfection. If you're a leader, ask yourself, am I creating conditions where people can thrive or merely survive? Am I measuring success by outputs or by wholeness? If you're a parent, consider, am I modeling self care for my children or self sacrifice? Am I teaching them that their worth comes from achievement or from existence? And for all of us, Can we commit to being both the healer and the healed? To recognizing that in tending our own wounds, we create possibility for others to do the same? This isn't easy work. It goes against everything our culture has taught us about success, about strength, about worth. It requires us to unlearn generations of conditioning that equate productivity with value, rest with laziness, boundaries with selfishness. But make no mistake, this is revolutionary work. When we create spaces where healing can happen, we aren't just changing individual lives, we're changing the future. Because when a girl heals, a family rises. When a woman heals, a community transforms. When we heal together, nations change, not through policies or programs alone, though those matter, but through the quiet revolution of sacred spaces, of wisdom shared, of boundaries honored, of rest prioritized, of joy reclaimed. This is how we change the world, not by climbing higher, but by digging deeper, not by conquering, but by healing, not by becoming stronger in the ways the world has taught us strength looks like, but by embracing the revolutionary power of softness, of vulnerability, of authenticity. By remembering, as Rolanda so powerfully demonstrates, that we are sacred, we are rising, we are medicine for ourselves and for each other. And in that remembering lies the most revolutionary act of all, the recognition that healing isn't just personal, it's generational, it's transformational. It's how we build the world we wish to see. One sacred circle, one healing conversation, one empowered girl, one whole woman at a time. The revolution will not be televised. It will be realized in whispered truths, in honored boundaries, in sacred rest, in the eyes of girls who grow up knowing they were never broken, only waiting to be remembered. Join us. The world is waiting for your medicine.